Good evening. Welcome to the June meeting of the McCandless EAC. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First up, approval of the minutes from May. Anybody have any comments, additions to the minutes?
Nope.
All right, there's three of you. Do we have a motion to approve?
Well, Dave and I can take turns. Motion, we approve the minutes.
Okay, I'll second it.
All right. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. That's approved. Thanks, John. Project updates. You see, we're missing a few folks tonight, so we should be able to kind of skim over some of these pretty quickly. Stream cleanup. I got an update from Dawn that they haven't done a lot, but she did reach out to somebody, I think, in the eastern part of the state.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, did everybody get that email? And sorry, I have a lot of written reports here tonight.
Downstream with some inflatable rafts, and so you can throw the junk in the rafts and just keep on walking down.
I guess I didn't print that one out, but yeah, she did say she got in touch with somebody in the eastern part of the state, had a conversation, and now has a contact, I think, in Western Pennsylvania that she's going to speak with for more ideas on stream cleanups. So assuming we have more details coming up. Rain garden maintenance. She also said to hand this over to you, Dave.
Yeah, this has been hanging on for a while. It's I sort of struck out a year or two ago trying to get it organized and initiated, but there's two rain gardens on the backside of the Heritage Center back there. They're kind of all overgrown and weedy, and there's some of the Japanese knotweed that's kind of taking over some of the areas in the bank of the creek over there. So Don and I met over there, kind of came up with a plan. She's been in contact with Jeff Shaneman for some assistance from DPW. She actually did start to do some cleanup. She's a little more encouraged that she can get some more volunteers to help her out with that. So
with the knotweed, just from I forget which environmental group it is that has the some of the islands and things like that. What they've found is you cut it about now in June when it's up.
Oh, really?
Cut it, and then in August you spray it with Roundup, and that's what they've gone to doing with it. With Roundup, you have to be careful in the riparian situation, but I forget which environmental. They have a whole bunch of land. It's one of the bigger land trusts in Pittsburgh.
So you said cut in June, spray in
August, beginning of August.
Okay, we were thinking it's you could kind of use it as a demonstration area or an educational type area over there. This is Japanese knotweed. It's invasive. Why it's so bad. You see it all over the place, and maybe some information on what the town is doing to control it. So
they can't do much on the roadways because most of the time because I went through this with them a couple of years ago, most of the time the patch is partly McCandless responsibility and partly on a private landowner.
yeah,
And so you run into that issue. But
yeah,
something that's one that you can totally handle, how the land trusts, and I forget which one it is, what they found, and they experiment with a whole bunch of different ways, was to cut it off in June so that it's used a lot of energy to grow, but it hasn't had a chance to gather much back.
oh,
And then it'll resprout, and then you spray it with the Roundup, and it has rhizoids, it doesn't have roots,
oh,
but that'll still, it still knocks it back that,
yeah. And I think Don was saying it might take
2 or 3 years
2 or 3 years to totally.
because of the
get rid
rhizoids.
So when you cut it, do you remove all of that stuff? You just let it kind of die there or,
Don't need to remove it.
don't need to remove it? Okay.
It'll turn brown and ugly.
Turn brown, right? When you spray it, it'll turn brown too, so,
It won't get up that much.
okay. So I think, in terms of the rain gardens, I think that's about it. We've done some coordination with the town. The Penn State Master Gardener, Donna Raddick, who has advised us on this before, she hasn't been brought back into this discussion yet, and that's something we need to do because she's very knowledgeable of the plants and everything, and Dawn seems to be very knowledgeable of the plants also. So I think the two of them can probably be a force in terms of getting that area back in shape.
Okay, has there been any discussion of maintenance going forward? Because I know that's the thing Kim Zachary pointed out too when she contacted me
Didn't
about
we
it,
originally think about that the
Public Works.
Public Works?
And apparently that didn't happen. I don't know, you've been talking with Jeff.
Yeah, we didn't come up with any kind of a longer term plan other than just trying to get things cleared out
Right, and
this year somehow. And then
okay. I
the
guess-
important thing is once you get the weeds, there's a lot of thistle, I think she calls them thistles,
Mhm.
that are kind of low and they just kind of pull right out. But once you pull them out, you need some kind of a mulch in there to hold the weeds from coming back. So
Okay,
that's another thing that,
This will
Jeff
get
can
about
help us
this
with.
tall in August. And they get a lot nastier to
Yeah,
deal
they-
with.
yeah,
yeah, we found one that tall in our garden, but I guess once you get a handle on how much effort it takes to clean this up, I guess then we should have the discussion what to do going forward.
going forward, yeah.
Yeah, kind of keep track of how much time you have to invest in it. I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah,
So that then we can try and find somebody to take that over, or at least be responsible for getting it started every year. Whether it's volunteers or whether it really can be done through Public Works. I'm not real confident about that one.
right. Plan going forward and number of hours.
Because even if it's something that turns out to not be horrible, maybe we can do it as an EAC, just,
Mhm.
go out there a couple of days every spring and.
If
clean
it's a
it up.
couple hours to do it with 6 people, that
Yeah.
shouldn't be a big thing.
Right. Donna always mentioned that it was should be more of a fall activity, but
Okay,
That's when the seeds
it
are
seems
going.
like any time that you have bodies available to
Right.
get in
It's
there
a
and
good
pull
time.
weeds, it's probably a good thing. I mean, it's not gonna, all that effort's gonna be for the good, so.
okay. All right, anything else on rain gardens? All right, next item up, student EAC member. I'm not quite sure where we left that, but I believe that was, Dawn was still investigating that one. The North Hills EAC event, I did get in touch with, I've gotten in touch with EAC reps from Ross, Franklin Park, Hampton, and Pine. Ross and Franklin Park got right back to me and said, yes, they're very interested in getting together. Liz Spence in Hampton wants to take it back to her committee next week. And I forget the woman's name in Pine is on vacation. So she'll follow up when she returns in a week or so.
Huh.
But they seem to be, the interest seems to be for a weeknight around 7 o'clock.
Okay,
So, and I'm kind of waiting to get some of the dates that are bad for people. I know Ross, I think she said the third Thursday is no good. That's when they have their meeting. So I'll start looking at some dates
right.
to see what do I need to do, John, to reserve the pavilion back here? Is that a big deal on weeknights?
Ask me and I will get it scheduled.
Oh, really?
At least
Okay.
Find out some dates if it's not scheduled, but it's a town committee, it's gonna be free.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wasn't sure I'm, how often it's rented out.
I know weekends it's pretty frequently rented
Right,
out, but I think
and
weekdays, it's maybe-
We're looking at a Monday through a Thursday.
Yeah.
7 o'clock till, 8:30 or whatever.
Right.
And,
So if that's the time frame, then we don't have to worry about food really. Maybe there's some
I don't
water, or pop or beer or something.
yeah, I
but-
would think some refreshments and maybe a few munchies, but just
It'll make
meet and
people
greet.
happier.
Mhm.
People will be happier.
I know. I agree. I go to these things expecting to be fed at least a little bit. And
That's lit over there, right? Are there lights over there?
Yeah, there's lights.
If it goes to 9 or,
Yeah, if it goes, there are lights under the.
right, okay,
pavilion.
okay. Well, hopefully by the middle of this month, I'll get responses from everybody and I'll come up with a couple of dates. And Kristen with Ross even offered to help me with the planning
oh, okay,
if I needed. I was going to see, if there was anyone else on this committee that was willing to help me out too. I don't know that it's going to be a huge effort, more just scheduling it and then
right,
purchasing whatever food
Right.
is necessary. So, but I got good enthusiasm from at least those two groups. So,
what do you think it's maybe like a 5-minute? Each town has like 5 or 10 minutes. This is the kind of things that we're doing, or
I mean, we
our
can do that.
challenges, or, how we want to maybe opportunities to work together, or,
Right. And I think I envisioned it even more, less of a program and more of just chatting,
Oh, okay.
honestly. But I think that's a good idea. Have each, and I'll let each group know that, have a little few minutes to talk and we can think about that. I really hadn't planned on a formal program. I said, this is an informal, just to get to know each other and get a feel for what everybody's doing and, what we could do together, that sort of thing. So, and Ross is still very enthusiastic to see what we're doing.
okay,
And yeah, Jim Porcelli has been very, very nice to work with
Right.
at Franklin Park as well. So we'll see how the other two groups.
yeah, wasn't aware of Pine.
I actually just looked at a bunch of the town websites.
Yeah.
For the surrounding and those, and I did see that Pine had one.
Okay,
I don't think Marshall does. I don't think Richland does. I think I looked at Shaler too, and I don't think they do.
okay,
So if anybody knows of another one, I know Cranberry has one that's fairly new, but I thought that was getting a little,
yeah,
and I thought I knew somebody on that committee. I looked at the list and he apparently is no longer on it. So I mean, their potential for the future
You don't-
but right now.
And you don't want to get it too big.
Right. I think having 5 communities would be nice.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that's hopefully like I said, you'll hear from me this week because I'd like to do it during the summer months,
Mhm.
yeah, why not?
obviously.
Yeah.
So sometime July or August, and well, September for me is bad anyway. So I know people go on vacation, so we'll see what we can come up with.
No, if you're missing one person from a
Oh,
township.
I
that's
know.
not-
That's, if we can at least get a representative or two from each township, we'll be in
Look
good
look
shape.
at us.
I know. All right, next, John, recycling tour.
Yeah, so I basically have it tentatively scheduled for Monday, June 20th. 1 PM is the earliest she can do it that day. That seemed to be the most common thread of all the responses I had.
Okay,
So I think what they're gonna do is, rather than have the whole educational video in the office, I think they're gonna send everyone links. So you can watch it ahead of time and then just do the tour after that.
Oh,
What? I have a vet appointment that day, but hopefully we'll work around that. Do you know what time?
1 PM. is
1
the
o'clock.
event.
Yeah, I should be good for that.
no, that's good, because morning was not good for me, but 1 o'clock should work. And
did we get any interest from council other than Jack, or, I mean,
As far as I
Jason's
heard
done
from
that
Jack, no one
before.
else has really indicated anything, but he may have a different story at this point.
okay, and are we inviting, should we actively invite anybody else? Was it just going to be us and we were inviting council?
I mean, Jack invited council. Inside the office, Joanne at the front desk went on the last one. She's sort of like one of the primary waste management contacts, but I
Okay,
just don't know if there'll be time for everyone else because we are kind of short staffed right now.
Got
as
it.
you can imagine.
So how many people do you think these tours are normally meant for? If we just show up with 4 people, is that,
I think it'll be fine. I mean,
That's
the last
fine,
one was
okay.
probably, it was less than 10 people. That
Yeah.
was the last one.
okay,
Because there was like someone from Ohio, 1 or 2
Mhm.
people from Ohio, and
Right.
a couple folks in the committee, Joanne, and that was pretty much it.
right?
So it was,
Because if we think we have space, we could open it. I don't know if we know any interested residents, or I could open it up to some of these other EAC contacts as well.
potentially, yeah, I think just, if they say yes, just get it to me in advance, because I think Erica does want the names, just to be seen,
Okay,
and the email addresses.
okay. What kind of response do you have from our committee?
Handful,
Okay,
and not everyone, but
okay.
you have
No,
to be able to make a quick decision.
right. No, I'm available that day. So, okay. Okay. Next up, Dave, litter update.
Yeah, last time we got a little bit into a discussion on how to snag more volunteers into this, into the cleanup events. So I wrote up some of my notes and some of the discussions that we've had with Dawn and Jeff and Kathy on some of the issues and concerns that we're having. So that's out there. I didn't, Dawn kind of mentioned to me that, maybe last time I was a little down and negative on the whole thing. I didn't mean to be that. I think we've done, we've made great progress. We've gone from 0 to, 5.5 tons of trash picked up in a few years. For me, if I drive around, McCandless looks way better than the other communities that I go through.
And you said
Ross,
that's obviously on you because you found out there's no other public help for this.
Yeah, there really isn't unless
That's great.
you, really start complaining quite a bit. And you don't want to complain too much, but you want to complain when there's something that's either big or hazardous
Mhm.
or a safety concern or something like that out there. But anyway, so yeah, we've made a lot of progress. And I think that's about it. We really haven't gotten into any planning for the fall yet. So open to any ideas, improvements, suggestions, anything like that.
I noticed the McCandless EAC sign going into the Cloverleaf Fund. Yeah, that's the first I noticed it. I don't know how long it's been there.
It's been there a while,
It's
hasn't
been there about 3 years.
But I'm not looking, I'm driving.
it?
There's
Yeah,
maybe 3 signs. I think they put one up at each,
Yeah, I
on
think
each
so.
ramp.
Yeah, probably 3, I'm guessing.
okay. Yeah, I've seen the one.
That's the first time, because
I
I'm
know
driving,
I've
I'm
seen
not
at least
looking at
one of
that
them, yeah.
stuff.
Well, I think I need to look for it because at one point.
Yeah, so that's really
But-
our responsibility. And then Jeff picked that up April 9th, I think. We picked it up in May. I did a little bit of a pickup the other weekend because I noticed there was some food bags and bottles and somebody had actually dumped a white like a kitchen garbage bag full of diapers right at Ingomar and Saratoga. So I stopped and picked that up and then picked up some other stuff that wasn't too bad. But at this time of the year, you can't get really into the weeds too much. And the heat, it's a totally different experience trying to pick up litter and jump up back and forth over the guardrail when it's 80 degrees compared to when it's 50 degrees.
Right.
I mean, it's really tough. So if you last an hour, you're doing pretty good. But anyway, we just continue to fight the battle. Jack has been awesome in terms of support and trying to get, some more support from the town. So
Great.
I think that's encouraging for sure.
Okay, and I guess we'll just discuss more of the next cleanup as we get a little closer
Yeah. Like I say, there's been no
in October.
planning on that one yet.
Okay. Well, thanks for the report, Dave. Ken, you're up. Is there any update, or the Rachel Carson folks still, because that they're
Rachel
big
Carson
stuff's
folks are
coming up,
still
yeah.
busy, but the other thing is we were supposed to do a walk on that, and Jack had a conflict, so we
Oh, okay.
couldn't do that, and I was hoping to get together with him this evening, and so I'll get in touch with him and before the weeds get too tall over there.
Okay.
Between the weather and schedules, it was,
Okay.
but the getting in as Toby would call it, the what ladies with baby carriage trail is what our objective is, and then we can get funding to do the rest of the trail. They don't want to give you funding for to start the trail, but they'll give you funding to finish the trail.
Okay.
I don't understand how that stuff works, but
No, I know. Something's got to help us get started, but we'll get it. All right, that's all I had for project updates, unless anyone had something I missed. We've actually got quite a few community outreach type things coming up.
just I mentioned with the deer program,
Yeah.
we had a meeting, and, with Suburban and Jack and Jason and myself, and we want to get as much publicity out there and picking targets, so to speak, land, areas to contact the landowners so that we can get the areas that are needed, and Don Cordum was there too. Get the areas hunted that need to be hunted, and trying to get the landowners into the program.
Mm-hmm.
So, we encouraged them to get some marketing materials together, which they've done. Because the details of it, people aren't really interested in the details of it. You need to get them to swallow the bait first,
Mm-hmm.
So we're hoping that this next year we can get more hunters, spending more time in the woods on more areas.
Right. And ones that are not the trophy hunters, ones that are,
Correct.
okay. No, thanks for that. On to community outreach. Matt, have you been able to make any progress with the STEM programs?
So Tony and Don and we've been keeping in touch via email as well. We're having some trouble getting a connection or a contact to speak to. So the decision's kind of been made to move forward by reaching out specifically to the clubs, the student organizations and things like that, reaching out to their sponsors and telling them about what we're trying to do. I think it would be great if we could get into the district, get some sort of meeting with either superintendent or building principal of some kind. My problem is that I'm just not available during the day. So during the hours that they're available, I'm not. Tony met with the principal of McKnight Elementary. Not that we thought that there was going to be a lot to go with at the elementary level, but he was hoping to make a connection there to then get connections to some of the other administrators. So he had that meeting earlier this week, I think. So we haven't heard back from him yet as far as how that went and if he has any sort of follow-up for that. So we're waiting to see as far as that's concerned. But we figured if we can reach out to those sponsors now, kind of get it in their minds for this upcoming school year, at least we can start moving forward a little bit with this. And then maybe once we're there, maybe we've got a foot in the door. If we can establish some good relationships with these folks, then maybe they can connect us with these other, administrators and things along those lines who are going to have a little bit more power and a little bit more district-wide connections.
Okay, yeah, I got an email from Tony real quick before the meeting, letting me know he couldn't come, but he basically said the same thing you just said. He was able to meet with the principal of McKnight, and they had a good conversation, and then he's going to introduce me to the NASD facilities manager to discuss solar. So going to get some more contacts for these things based on that meeting.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Oh, thanks, Matt. Thanks for, I know it's been a slog for you guys trying to get in there. So I appreciate you sticking with it. You'll get it.
I think Don mentioned to me that maybe the middle schools have more, I don't know, environmental clubs or green clubs, or more than maybe the intermediate high school or the high school do. And those kids may not be quite as busy as the high school kids. So she was talking to me about that in terms of, well, middle school kids, we can send them over to the rain gardens and pull weeds. We can't really put them out on the road to pick up litter, but they can pull weeds. So yeah, I just never really thought that the middle school kids would be, have green clubs and environmental clubs and that kind of thing. But I guess that's maybe at each of the schools or some of the schools. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we have a list of for all the secondary schools. So all three of the middle schools, as well as the intermediate and the senior high. And I think that the value to getting in at the middle level is, you're right, like there's not as much as they can do for like litter cleanup and things like that. But if they are interested now, and we can hold on to them as they get into high school, right, then we're going to see, we're going to have a built-in volunteer force there, right? So that's kind of the goal, is to get them interested early and then hold on to them, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. No, thanks for following up with that.
Yep. It's not easy.
No. Guys have more patience than I would. All right, next up, speaker series events. Just a quick wrap up on our solar program last month. I thought Tony did an awesome job. I would have liked to see more people in attendance. I think we had maybe a dozen folks here and about that online as well. But the folks that were here were very interested in this presentation. A lot of good questions. Everybody was really engaged. And in fact, when it was over, almost everybody stayed to ask Tony more questions, and David, the solar rep he brought with him. I found it very interesting, and just to give people enough information to start thinking, hey, this is something I can do, and start sharing some of the resources and some tools as to how to start looking into exactly what you need. So I thought it was very successful, and in fact, I'd like him to hang on to that topic, because it may be something I think we may want to present again in a year or so. Just, I thought that was a great service. So I thank him very much for that. And he's got another speaker lined up for us in September. We now have a date, September 22nd, here in Town Hall. And he's got another professor lined up. We obviously don't have the program put together yet, but it will be something along the line of water resources. So as we get closer, and once again, we have Katie at the library to help us with that one. So her help has been great as well. She puts together the promotional material to share with us. And then once John got it all set up at the computer, she ran everything for us. So I thought it went very well. And if anybody else watched it online or has watched the recording and has any other comments or suggestions, please, by all means, let me know. You could look at it. It's on the McCandless YouTube channel, correct?
Actually, I have not received the file yet, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I'll call Katie. Okay. No, I didn't realize that. I thought, that's right, because you weren't there, so it's not like she could just hand it to you. Or I may actually have it. We'll see. She sent something to us. Maybe it didn't get to you. Sorry.
Okay, we'll figure it out. We have plenty of time.
Yeah. Okay. And let's see. next up, I don't have much of an update on NAEC programs. I've gotten back in touch with Beth Dutton. She had been on vacation and really haven't. She's saying she's going back, trying to get in touch with some of the other folks and updates on some programs. So I don't have anything concrete yet from her. Green spacewalks, that's something I was talking with Dawn about, looking at a potential walk through Potter Park and then another one Vestal. And with the thought of getting Beth Dutton in on one of those, and we don't have any of that finalized. So I'll keep up the discussions with Dawn and with Beth. Community Day, Winterfest, that's Dawn's on here. I know we're going to be discussing that. I'll put that on the agenda for next month. But in the meantime,
Can I say a note about the Winterfest?
oh yeah, go ahead.
Remember there were 8 Christmas trees that we decorated?
Mhm.
Just want a high five to the Public Works guys. They planted them over there on McCandless
Okay.
Road or whatever.
Mhm.
They all have new growth on them. Does that mean they survived? They're
not brown.
not brown. They got new growth on them. So I thought the 8 out of 8 surviving was pretty good, right?
Well, they didn't put them in right away, right?
No, and they had a backhoe and everything else. So yeah,
They were able to do it right.
Right. They went up there with a backhoe and they're, spaced out. So when they get big, they're not gonna crowd each other. They're not under any utility lines.
Good.
So, kudos to them for taking care of that and minding them over the winter. Whatever they did the right thing because they survived. So that was,
Very good.
hope we can do that again. Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, I appreciate the update. Okay, the next up, and I think, did everyone get the email regarding what is now called the All Bottled Up Art Show at the North Hills Art Center? The Art Center is going to go ahead with this. It's basically the same thing as the Recycle Art Show that we did back in, I guess that was 2019. And they just blasted out an email to EACs looking for help. And I reached out to Kim, and she said, Kim Freethaler, who's the director there, and she said this definitely was, it comes from the program we did with them 3 years ago.
Yep.
So I guess the theme of this is it's art that has to have a plastic or a glass bottle as part of the art.
Okay.
But it's basically the same thing. It's open to whoever wants to submit artwork. She is right now working on the publicity materials, and we have said we would certainly assist with publicizing this. I think that the big opening night, or I guess the big banquet that goes with it is, or I guess the big opening is June the 30th, which is a Saturday. Let's see if I have the exact information here.
So they need to get that advertised here
Right.
really quickly.
We plan on having an opening reception Saturday, July 30th from
Oh,
7 to
July
9.
30th.
I'm sorry, did
Okay.
I say June?
Yeah, okay,
July
July 30th.
30th.
Not so bad.
Because I wrote that wrong in my notes.
that's a little more time.
Yeah, it's a little more time, you're right. I was like, I wasn't that worried about it. But there will be live local music, awards and refreshments. And it sounds like, so I did have a conversation with Kim last night, and it sounds like they pretty much got that set up. What they're looking for is helping getting out the word and getting the publicity. And I assured her that we could certainly help with that. We'd use all of our channels, and she'll provide the flyers, and we'll send it out our usual ways. And she also would like, the reason she sent it out to all the EACs is she's going to leave it open for us if we want to come set up a table
Oh,
during the opening. Just, I think, set up a table. If you have any flyers, handouts, talk to folks there, let the people at the opening know what we do. And
is there room there with all the?
I was kind of
The art
wondering
and
about
stuff?
that too. It's pretty tight in there, but I just said, well, I'll bring it back and,
I mean, I wasn't at the last one, so I don't know. I
I
just assume
was.
it's,
yeah, that was pretty much Deanna's baby. She
right.
organized that with them for the most part. And they were thrilled with it and have been looking to do it again. But there wasn't a lot of space there, but I don't know, I'll talk to her about that. But I still think it would be worthwhile for us to have somebody there. And at this point, I'm free that evening.
Okay.
Well,
For
I
a
was
couple
gonna
of hours.
volunteer Dave because of all the stuff on the sides of the road, you know, all that.
Yeah,
potential
right.
art.
So anyhow, I just thought that's another conversation to have on what we can have at an information table. This
Yeah,
I'm
I'm just
sure
thinking
be
if they have
something
food,
smaller.
they have food, they have music. I mean,
I'm wondering where they're putting the music because before,
Right.
just when they displayed all of the art and had a couple of food tables, that pretty much filled the art
Probably be
center.
outside.
And they'd about have to go outside.
yeah, and you don't want to, you know, take away from the folks that are, you know, displaying their art, I
But
guess,
I
right?
know, but they still will give out awards. I think she still wants to carry the whole recycling
Oh,
and,
okay.
and
All right.
she wants to follow that theme as well as just look and celebrate the art. So I'll keep in touch with Kim and I'll give everyone an update next
So
week
they
as well.
don't, they probably don't need any financial contribution.
She did
from
not
us,
say, because that's the main reason I called her, just to see, okay, what kind of assistance are you looking for?
because that might require one of those forms that we do. What's it called? Project form or something, or?
We may already have one for the earlier version, but the last one, we actually paid for all of the food. That was all us. Deanna ordered it all.
Yeah.
I helped her and picked it up. So because it was really our event,
Right.
so
Right.
we paid for all of that. She didn't ask for any financial assistance, any real planning or programming assistance.
Okay.
It's more publicity and, you know, welcoming us to attend as well. So I'll keep following up with that. I'll let everybody know if it turns out that there's anything else that she needs. But
We could do a little handout on roadside litter, you know, I guess that's where the
Well,
bottles and
I think the bottom
glass
line
and
is,
plastic are supposed
Yeah,
to be coming from, you know.
we kind of have to revisit what we have at our tables.
Something that is, before I forget to mention it.
Yeah.
I saw a little snippet today about the federal government's going to ban all single-use plastics in all national parks and forests.
Oh, are they? Okay.
It hasn't been done yet, but they're planning on doing that.
Okay.
So does that mean bags or does that mean bottles also?
Single-use plastics.
Plastics, bottles, straws?
I thought there were a lot of parks that have
Cup.
already done away with. Maybe they're not. the
No,
federal
when you
ones.
get campers and stuff, I'm sitting there
Got it.
like, how are you going to enforce this with
Mhm,
somebody that drove in, you know, with their cooler, you know, for the day?
mhm.
Right.
Yeah, oh, interesting. And yeah, Matt, thanks for setting out that other article too. About the single-use plastics, so. Okay, sorry, I lost my agenda here. So anyhow, I'll follow up, and if anybody else has any thoughts on how we can help them potentially, or, you know, of course, anyone will be welcome to go on the 30th. I will plan on going and would love to have anybody else that's available.
What night of the week is that?
That's a Saturday.
Oh, Saturday, okay.
Yes. And it's 7 to 9 PM, July 30th. It says the show will be on view in our gallery through Friday, August 19th. So I don't know if there's any way, I know last time we displayed a lot of the art here. I guess we displayed the award winners
Yeah.
here.
Back here.
So I can certainly ask her too, if there's any opportunities to display any of that before or after, or we'll see how that works.
Sounds like she wants ownership of it.
It does,
Right.
which I told her, I'm fine. I said, we haven't, I looked into following it up the year afterwards, but it was 2020. So there were no programs, and no, that's not really my strong suit to set up an art show. So I'm happy to help you with food and publicity, and I told her that, I said, you know,
Yeah,
but if she needs the help, I could certainly.
so
ask
I'm sorry, you
somebody.
said it's gonna be on display from,
She just said the show will be on view in our gallery through Friday, August 19th. So they must unveil it on the 30th,
a
is
couple
my guess.
weeks.
I
Yeah,
think
so
last
they-
time it was the opposite. I think they had it on display and then they had,
Oh, okay.
they had more of just the award ceremony. So I think this
Yeah, I'd
is set up a
say
little
if it's on
differently.
display for a couple weeks, then that's pretty much it, I think. They don't,
So, and unless we have some residents there
that wanna
that wouldn't mind, you know, letting us display it. Well, we'll see how it goes.
lugging it back here.
Okay,
good.
so that's what I had for community outreach. Does anyone have any other programs out there that I missed?
Any events, like, I mean, if you look at where we were last year, we had nothing. I
Right.
mean, we've really kind of come a ways here with this.
Our community outreach was nothing there for a couple of years, so
Right. And you haven't heard anything on Garden in the Park or anything that?
I think there's change of leadership there, so I'm not sure.
I every now and then I check the websites and I have not, I still haven't. seen it.
There's folks working on those gardens over there.
That's,
Maybe that's just normal.
yeah, that's a separate issue kind of thing.
Oh,
And my friend of mine that does a lot of that work down there hasn't said anything, you know, about with the Friends in the Park, so.
okay.
Okay. So that's all I have for community outreach.
Yep.
Miscellaneous, I was going to ask Dawn if she would do the McMail tips. I will still reach out to her. Because I'll touch base with her on some of these other items that we missed, so. Okay, tips.
I wanted,
Just real quick, what date do you need the tips this month?
June 29th.
June 29th. Okay, thanks.
Matt, I noticed something in your tips. You mentioned about grass clippings in the street and not to do that. McCandless does not have an ordinance that prohibits that. We've looked into that before in response to some businesses and commercial places, you know, just mowing their clippings into the street gutter. So if that's a crusade that you want to take on.
Actually, that's something with the stormwater management that
Right,
council really probably should look at. So somebody, one of us needs to mention that to like Jason or whatever to
yeah.
move that along.
You can't like intentionally dump anything into a catch basin or a drain inlet or anything like that, but I don't think the ordinances talk about actual
What you leave in your gutter.
leaves and grass clippings and that kind of stuff in the,
Yeah, but that clogs up the, yeah.
yeah, well, we see that all the time.
Well, it's not just clogging it up. It's also essentially polluting the waterways because you're getting a lot more growth and things like that because the clippings essentially fertilize the water for the plankton to grow, and then your waterways get cloudy, and then the benthic plants can't grow, and then so it leads to all kinds of different problems. So I mean, I didn't put it in there as like a it's against the law type of thing, but more as a hey.
Yeah.
Because I think most people don't even realize that type of thing. I don't think that they think about it. I think they're just like, oh, who cares? They're going to get washed away anyway. No big
Yeah.
deal. Just like everything, right? As long as they don't see it anymore, who cares?
Out of sight, out of mind.
Uh,
Yeah, I thought it was a code issue in the city in Pittsburgh, but I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to look it up, but I mean, I thought it was, but, and I guess we were kind of surprised that it wasn't in McCandless, but yeah, maybe we'll talk to Jack and Jason about that and see what,
Jason, actually, I think, because
What makes
that's his
sense.
building, what,
Mhm. So you're saying grass clippings?
That'd be good. I think it's well, at businesses, it may be a little easier to enforce. I think residentially, it's just a tough thing to enforce.
yeah,
You know, I don't know how they would even go about it. It's, you know,
Yeah.
it's not like it's there for long. So I don't know.
Right. No, but I appreciate you mentioning it. And thanks so much for doing the tips last month.
Sure.
Jason.
Okay. Any other topics that we missed?
Just to note that we are advertising for the vacant positions
I did
that aren't
see
vacant
that.
yet. So obviously,
Okay.
Matt, Dave, Ken, you guys are all eligible to reapply, so I strongly encourage you to do so. The
Okay, no,
deadline
that
is July
was-
1st.
that was my question is, because that letter that I just got yesterday didn't say whether we were or not.
No, you guys are eligible.
Okay,
And I encourage you all, please.
I think we're both involved in different projects that aren't done, so.
That's right. You're not allowed to leave.
John, I have a question about that you may not know. It said current appointment should complete an application attached, but there was no application attached. So is there? What's the best? It says available on website, but I wasn't sure exactly where to go on the website.
Yes. Go on the website. In the middle, you'll see like a little news section.
Okay.
And there's a thing saying, seeking EAC applicants.
Oh, okay.
There's a link for the application in there. And it's a filled PDF, so.
Okay. Thanks.
And did you just have to do that several months ago anyway?
Yeah, I probably did. I just didn't recall the process that I went through, to be honest. So, but yeah, probably it's probably exactly the same thing that I did. So.
So Matt, the issue with Ken and myself is that we started off with a 2-year term because at the beginning of the EAC, they
Staggered.
They
staggered the term. Some people had 2 years, some people had 4 years. So Ken and I were 2 years, but that 2-year period does not count as a term because your term limited to 2 terms.
A 2 full 4-year term.
Two full 4-year terms. So your time in the last year or so doesn't count as a term. So you can go another 8 years if you want.
Got it.
Yeah, I didn't realize, I guess he must have picked up Jeff's, which was short even when Jeff was appointed.
Yeah.
Jeff, yeah,
Jeff?
I forgot Jeff.
The green space guy.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember his last name now either. But yeah, because I think he was given a 2-year term,
Oh, okay.
even when for the same reason, replacing people.
Right.
There was a 2-year term left. So, okay, no, I hope everybody applies. Any questions or concerns, please call me before you decide not to. And I'll talk you into it. So,
And
thanks.
sort of in the same time frame, September is officer, is chairman and vice chairman, that kind of thing again.
Right.
So
Well, and
think
I,
about that.
Things are good as they are, I think.
no, I was, and I'll say it again next month. I welcome anybody else that wants to be chair or vice chair. Unless, you really, really want it. But I'm just going to keep putting that out there and please let me know if you have an interest or let somebody know so they can nominate you and we don't have awkward silence at the
Right.
nominating meeting. So because I'm more than happy to give it to somebody else if somebody else is willing, but okay, and looks like we do not have a report from town council tonight unless somebody else has a report from Jack to give. Anything we need to know from council? Other than that, no public comments. Looks like we are,
It's only 8:19.
I know,
It's still daylight
She
outside.
did it.
run. Run.
Anything else from Matt? Nothing? Okay. Just want to make sure you had a chance.
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So if not, then if we can have the motion to adjourn,
I will motion to adjourn.
we have a second.
I will second.
All opposed? I mean, excuse me, all in favor? Aye. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. I hope everyone's enjoying their summer. If you've got vacations coming up, enjoy.